you are not black or of color, then you would say, why does anybody need to be taught implicit bias? We live it every single day.
I don't think I need to be taught
no,
implicit bias.
there needs to be. No, don't be offended. And DEI is just sub for the N-word. It's just another word for black. They are taking this country backwards. It is a slick way for them to then not necessarily deal with the N-word, not necessarily to deal with blackness, but they're all told that somehow black is less than. It is just natural in this country. It doesn't have to be that way moving forward, but that is just the way it is. Your point, wait, don't all do respect me, because that means you're going the opposite way.
No. But the way you spoke down to me as though I have some bias is why the Democrats lost the election.
No, I didn't speak.
This is.
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this panel. This was one of the better panels, I would say, but it's just still so incredibly frustrating. Check this out and we'll talk about it.
As the Pentagon works to purge DEI content across every branch of the military, tens of thousands of photographs and online posts have been marked for deletion. According to the Associated Press, images and posts flagged included references to a World War II Medal of Honor recipient. Thousands of posts that commemorate Black, Hispanic, and women's history also removed. And photographs like this one of the Enola Gay, the aircraft that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. The plane was named after the pilot's mother. You may be wondering, what was so controversial about that picture that it needed to be taken down? Well, according to the AP, a review of the database also underscores the confusion that has swirled among agencies about what to remove following Trump's order. In some cases, photos seem to be flagged for removal simply because their file included the word gay. Yes, really. And that includes service members with that last name and an image of the B-29 aircraft, the Enola Gay. I mean...
Lord.
Yeah.
Look.
It's just so embarrassing sometimes to be an American. Like, Trump is our president. I mean, just a racist with no brain cells working together, and that hollow head of his. Just a vile, sad, pathetic person.
I would laugh, except that it's like...
But it's terrible.
Crazy.
And the thing is, and I don't even think we should use their language. You know, their language is, oh, we're doing it because of DEI. No, you are removing black people, gay people, and women from America's government's websites. That's wrong. That's wrong. In what world is that appropriate? If we said after Obama got in, we're going to take down all the pictures of the white boys, people would say, are you crazy? Are you smoking something? That's terrible. It's anti-American. So if you can say anything is anti-woke, anti-DEI, anti-whatever you want to, but if the end result is people are being erased because of the color of their skin, that is racist. It is wrong. And I would expect Republicans to stand up and say, would you guys knock it off? We want high standards. We don't want history erased. We want high standards. We don't want people removed just because they're black or female or brown. That's wrong.
Well, I think it's the crazy.
I mean, I think it's crazy to think that Republicans are going to push back on this. Of course they're not. I mean, guys, this is just like, how pathetic, how weak-minded are you? That you're so threatened by photos? So threatened by people different than you? It's unbelievable.
The biggest part about all of this is we've got a serious pending issue with Taiwan. There's concerns with Ukraine and Russia. We have, as you were mentioning, planes falling out of the sky at the FAA. Why is this the priority right now? Even if that is what you think is the priority, like the average everyday American, I think, is really struggling with the price of eggs, with the economy.
But to your point, clearly mistakes were made with the pictures. That's just stupid. Right? Like erasing history, erasing a picture of someone who honorably served the country should not happen, period, in the story.
Not mistakes.
But we have problems with Taiwan. We have problems in Ukraine, obviously. So, the Army was doing climate literacy classes. They were putting hybrid tactical vehicles, implicit bias.
None of these talk about climate literacy.
This is the broader DEI thing, and none of those things were actually making our operational readiness better.
But Joe, climate has been a part of the Pentagon's strategic plan since the 1990s.
Has to be.
Since the late 1980s when George H.W. Bush was president. This is not some kind of fad. The reason the Pentagon is concerned about climate is because they understand that drought, that famine causes conflict that then they have to resolve.
Absolutely.
That is part of the military planning. This is, it is just it's an insult to people's intelligence.
And they can't pass.
You can't think passed just the buzzwords on this stuff.
They can't even pass an audit. 7 audits.
The Pentagon.
The Pentagon cannot pass an audit. Those are the things they should be focused on. And DEI is just sub for the N-word. It's just another word for black. They are taking this country backwards to a time where the history of black people was not told, and other people too. And so we got to reckon with this. President Trump ran to be the president, as all presidents do, of all people. He enjoyed a larger share. Let me just center black people right now. He enjoyed a larger share of the black vote than Republicans usually get. I'm old enough to remember during Black History Month, he was there celebrating black history. And then on his watch, he allows people to run roughshod and use DEI in a way that is debilitating, that is dehumanizing, that is wrong, and he should put a stop to it and stop listening to the people telling him that something is wrong with diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Before you jump.
And I don't think it's just the people around him. I think this is Trump too. Do we have to go down the list? Obama with his birth certificate. Kamala isn't black. Immigrants are poisoning the blood of the nation. Like, this is who he is. Wouldn't rent to people in the 80s to the point that he got sued in one of his apartment buildings. This is who he is. This is what he believes in. Now he's surrounded by other morons that believe the same disgusting thing. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's so threatened. So threatened. If they were nothing, if they're not educated and less than, why are you so threatened by people? Why are you so threatened by black people? It's about removing their accomplishments. It's about removing their history. This is what it's about. So that it makes them feel better that only the accomplishments and only the people who have done something in this nation were white men. This is what they want to brainwash people to believe. It's unbelievable.
And I just want to show some of the other images that were deleted. I think there's a big question here about why are they so fixated on pictures of people of color, but just, incredibly innocuous stuff of people who are serving or served.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think that obviously I agree. The whole picture thing, and we've seen even before the Tuskegee Airmen, when they said that they were going to remove that from the curriculum, then they had to put it back in there. This is something that they did need to do. And I've said before, when it comes to conservatives, many people on the right, in their response to DEI, where they just go too far. So instead of focusing on those things, those DEI things, like, if you're against, transgender, men, biological men serving in, competing against women, or like Lockheed Martin, if you're against a company saying that we need to make sure that we have these white male awareness training, which is what Lockheed Martin did. Those are some of the negative things about DEI. I think casting everything, though, as DEI, I don't think that everything, even problems within the government, and I think we also have to be careful, the people who are more supportive of DEI, in accepting this notion that it really is just about black people. I don't think it's just about black people. I think it is this, because we've seen whether it's women, whether it's gays, whether it's any of these type of groups, these groups have been impacted. But as far as the federal government, I don't think it's the federal government's job to teach black history. I think you learn that before you get to the federal government.
Were they teaching black history, though?
Like, is he in denial? Are you seeing things? Like, he must have to tell himself this in order to keep supporting Trump. He's removing pictures of black people. We all know that when they attack DEI, 9 out of 10 times, they're trying to attack black people. They use it as a slur. He knows this. He knows it, but he's here to clean up the racism that's spread around by his party. Just so that he can get a bigger piece of that pie, right, Malik? Step on your own people's backs. He can reach up and get that extra fruit, right? How shameful. You should be... Oh, man.
No, they were not.
On their website. Like, this is my thing. Like, people want.
But I'm saying, so what are black people
They're
losing
spending
in
$100
that?
million on
So what are black
implicit
people
bias
losing?
training.
Can I just say,
it's
what does that have to do
unnecessary.
with pictures, though?
What does that have to do with the operational readiness?
What does that have to do with pictures? You want to
Point
take away from
stipulated
those
on the picture. The
programs?
picture's stupid. The picture's dumb.
Yes, dumb.
Yeah,
We all agree on
dumb.
that. Dumb.
But $100 million on certain trainings that are part of the DEI
can tell you.
spend.
Then go after that. Why are you taking down the pictures? It's like such a waste of time.
They should go after that. Thank you.
Like,
If
I'm
you-
not saying that they
if
should. I'm just
you-
saying it's like.
If you are not black, or of color, then you would say, why does anybody need to be taught implicit bias? We live it every single day.
I don't think I need to be taught implicit
no,
bias.
there
I'm
needs to be. No, don't be offended. People have to understand that we live in America where we are all socialized a certain type of way. And unless we deconstruct our construction, we are all told that somehow black is less than. It is just natural in this country. It doesn't have to be that way moving forward, but that is just the way it is.
All due respect.
Your point, wait, don't all do respect me because that means you're going the opposite way.
No.
Your point about DEI and centering blackness, the whole notion of how other marginalized groups suffer, that's why I say it's black. When it's woke, it's black. BLM, it's black. It is a slick way for them to then not necessarily deal with the N-word, not necessarily to deal with blackness, but they're doing it through DEI, and then every other marginalized group is then hurt by it.
But just give me one word on this.
And for him to say that he's offended, she was just saying that there's implicit bias. This is what DEI is meant to correct. Is to take off these biases that people have where they try to put black people or Spanish people or gay people in these boxes and just open up the pool to everyone. It's about not looking at somebody's skin color as a justification for a job or a promotion. It's about ignoring that and looking everywhere for possible opportunities. Like, to be offended and for them to just say, oh, it's dumb to go after the picture. No, it's racist. Say what it is. Is it racist? Push back. Right? I don't know. Nina Turner's a lot better than me when it comes to talking about this, handling different people with different views. Because I would have just pushed it right back on him. Okay, were you offended when Trump called Haitians that they eat cats and dogs? This is unbelievable for you to be offended by this. We all know there's implicit bias. This is why they freak out when you have a movie coming out with a black superheroes. Because in their view, black people cannot be superheroes. They can only be the criminal. Uneffing believable. How dare these people?
I don't mean this in any disrespect whatsoever, but the way you spoke down to me as though I have some bias is why the Democrats lost the election.
No, I didn't speak.
This is to your point that you said earlier. Maybe it was during the break that Trump was able to pick culture groups and not racial groups and speak to them properly.
Here's what I hear you saying, and here's where I actually agree with Nina. I do think that the way that it's being heard is we're basically saying all straight white dudes suck, all straight white dudes are terrible, and therefore you need to be scolded. And when you hear it that way, anybody would naturally object. If that's how what's being heard, that is not the intention. The intention is we want our military to be able to, for folks to be able to work well together. And they have done these different tests where it turns out that because of some stuff that Nina's talking about, images people have been shown, that sometimes people will not respect, a black female superior officer at the same level, and that could get somebody killed. And so I think what they were trying to do was deal with actual problems that they were having. And then people from the outside said, well, hold on a second. That seems like that crappy workshop I had at my corporate job, which I hated, so now I'm going to take that out of the military. But you may actually be reducing combat readiness, and that's the conversation we want to be able to have honestly, but we're not able to. And I think it's putting our soldiers at risk. We have the most diverse fighting force in the history of the world. If you want to put some attention to make sure that folks know how to work together, I don't think it's bad for America. You might see it differently, but I don't.
The diversity with it.
And I want to say something before he goes into this nonsense. For him to be offended and said Nina Turner was talking down to him, guys, let me know in the comments. When did she speak down to him? When did she offend him? Like, this is why we can never get anywhere, because you're not listening. So worried about being attacked in some way. She wasn't attacking. She wasn't directing her response directly to you. She was just explaining the environment in which we're in, and there's implicit biases. I'm offended. Such a snowflake.
With the lowercase d, I think is a wonderful part of our military. The enlisted ranks are a minority institution. Yeah. But I think Secretary Hegseth said it best. It is the unity of the military, not the diversity, that actually makes it the most combat-ready force in the world.
But this same military had to be forced. I mean, black people have fought in every war in this country, but in terms of desegregating the armed forces itself, had to be forced to do it, to do away with segregated units. This country had to be forced to do it, and that
You're
is
right.
the understanding.
But I'm not responsible, and that's why when people
here, but I
talk
just
in this
want to,
way.
Joe, one thing that you said that I just want you to consider that people disagree on. The idea that the diversity of the military is not a strength. Pete Hegseth did say that. But remember that in a military where you had people of color serving, but where there was discrimination in the ranks, that is not a strong military, okay? And I think that is that's the crux of the problem, that you don't have unity unless you insist on it, unless you insist on equal treatment within the ranks of the military. And that starts by addressing biases that exist because we are human beings, and nobody is exempt from biases of all different kinds.
Well, I didn't wake up and have any bias about anyone here.
Listen, you're not a robot.
No.
You're a human being. You exist in the world.
Except
We all have biases and preferences. It's not to say anybody is racist or sexist, but we come from a place, and acknowledging that is just the first step to preventing it from influencing how you deal with other people. That's the general idea. We gotta go. We could have another hour-long conversation on the topic.
And guys, I'm gonna leave it there, obviously, but Nina Turner is right about, and I spoke about this before. Racism, it's almost like the source of all other forms of bigotry. If you can hate somebody because of their skin color, just because of their skin color, their hair type, how they say certain words, whatever it is, you can start hating people for whatever reason. You could start believing that a woman doesn't deserve to be in the workplace, that she only deserves to be in the kitchen and taking care of kids. Or do you believe gay and trans people are banished to hell now? You can start justifying all forms of hate against anyone. If you can just think about it. You could just have this negative perception of somebody just because of their skin color. Like, I'm sorry. I've never felt offended or left out in any way when it was Black History Month as an Hispanic. I understood. How can we not understand it? We all know the history of how Black people were treated in this country. Like, this is just incredible. And these people, that the fat white dude, I don't know his name, he's not having a genuine conversation. I'm offended. This is a way for them to just push away the argument. Now we have to talk about why you're offended. Talk to him so gently, like a baby. This white fragility. This is incredible. I don't know how we get past this. I can just keep trying and keep trying. Because guys, and conservatives out there that swear up and down that you're not racist, I envision a world that we don't have hate for anyone that's different than us. We just ignore it. I mean, you may not understand it. You may not agree with it. You don't hate them for it. You don't try to exclude them for things. You don't try to make their life harder. Like, imagine what we could achieve if people who are racist, you didn't have this soul of hate, this heart full of hatred for other people, and people who are feeling racism every day. Imagine they didn't have to. We didn't have to walk around with this monkey on our back. Life is already hard as it is. I envision this world of peace. I envy that world of peace. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I thought this panel was pretty good. No Scott Jennings, so that's good. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.